Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Outside the Box. And I've been looking forward to this conversation for a long time. You don't even know this,
Oh.
but I've been looking forward to it.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yes.
I've been looking forward to it.
Guys, if you're watching this on YouTube and you see who I'm with and you're in the Tri-Cities and you're not living under a rock, you know who I'm with. And I'm with Lucas Schmidt from Jonesboro Repertory Theater, JRT. Just finished up Singing in the Rain.
Yes.
Which was phenomenal, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Like, I thoroughly enjoyed it. One, my brother was in it with you.
Yes.
But also, I just love going to Jonesboro Repertory Theater. JRT. I'm going to say JRT from now on because I keep mispronouncing repertory. But, Lucas, give us, for the people who don't know, give us a little background. Who are you?
I am the house manager of JRT. Mm-hmm. So my mom's the artistic director, Jennifer Ross Bernhardt, and we started working there. I started as a drummer for JRT. I was in high school. I was probably 14 or 15, and some of the musicals they did there, my mom wasn't the artistic director. She was friends with some of the staff, and they hired her to direct a show called the 1940s USO show.
Okay.
And we had a live band. It consisted of me and a piano at the time. It was just us. And that show grew over, it's still going, but it's been 15 years now, I think. Jeez. But it grew and grew and grew, and now we have a full sort of trombone, trumpets, saxophones, full kind of 1940s jazz band. And I decided when I was in college I wanted to try acting instead of playing.
Got it. Okay.
So I auditioned for the show. My mom didn't really know I sang. I just was like, I don't really want to play drums this year. I think I'm going to try out. Now, drumming is a paid gig if you're a musician, but if you perform, you get paid in applause. That's how you get paid. But that's good enough. But I sang and decided, and she cast me, and there it went. So now I enjoy performing. But since then, I've been hired as the house manager, which is just. The volunteers do most of the work. Yeah. I really just put out an announcement on our Facebook group. I'm like, okay, show's open. I need some ushers. And the ushers just show up, and I don't even have to tell them. They just start cleaning. They started taking the vacuum away from me, and I'm like, geez. So really, I just make sure, the place doesn't burn down, things like that.
I love that community you guys are building. Like, it's really unique, and, you guys know who are watching. My brother Andy has been heavily involved with you guys over the last couple of shows, and it's just really neat to see, Johnson City, Kingsport, Jonesboro, people coming in for these shows, and it feels like you guys are at the center of it.
Oh, well, we try to create a family. Well, most of our shows, are family friendly, so we do a few adult shows, but not like we're gonna do, Young Frankenstein this fall, and which is don't bring your kids to that, but it's not. Compared to nowadays, pretty that gratuitous. But we try to keep it family friendly on the stage and off. My mom really doesn't like drama. Now, the theater people, we're dramatic, but we try to keep it. We try to keep it to like a family. Everybody's like a family, so it's very important. You can go to a lot of theaters, especially in the professional world, and you don't make small talk, you don't joke around, you don't get to do any of that. But that, from the get-go, has been very important to the process because they're volunteers.
Right.
If they're not enjoying it, they're not going to come back.
Well, you guys you're doing such a great job, and I went to the last show a couple weeks ago, Singing in the Rain, and which just ended. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Like, I'm bummed that it's over, but I'm sure you guys are somewhat relieved that it was a lot of shows.
Oh yeah,
it was in the 20s.
Yeah, I see. We normally run a show 3 weekends, and we run this one 4.
Yeah,
and that's a Thursday, Friday, 2 Saturday, 1 Sunday. So was that 5 per weekend? 15, 20? Yeah, 20 shows, something like that.
Around 20, which I know is a lot, and that's kind of why we wanted to have you on. There's another side to you. It's a super physical show. If you guys have not seen Singing in the Rain. And I'm with him now, and there's scratches all over his arms. We talked a little bit about physical comedy before we hit record, but nutrition and being in top condition is very important to you. Has that always been important to you?
No, not necessarily. around the time I started playing for the theater, I started martial arts training.
Okay.
I got picked on in middle school. Nothing severe, but I just didn't want to be. I'm still skinny, but I was like a twig, blow away in a hard wind. And I just didn't feel very strong. I didn't feel empowered, and so I asked my mom to find a jiu-jitsu school, and we couldn't find one at the time that specialized. They're probably everywhere now, but she got a card from a Shaolin Kung Fu school. And
is that jiu-jitsu?
No, it's
okay.
Jiu-jitsu is a Japanese art of grappling, so it's like joint manipulation, restraints. Kung Fu is Chinese. It's very old. Like Tai Chi, the slow stuff, that comes from the same people that created Kung Fu.
Okay.
So you see the videos on YouTube of the crazy monks that can like lay on nails and get hit with a brick and all this stuff. Those are Shaolin monks usually. And there's a school down the road, Mullins Shaolin, and I signed up, and I've been there since. Still, I went last night to class,
way.
And that was the first physical, like, exercise-related thing I did track and cross country, I guess, in middle school, but it wasn't important to me. So I started there, and then maybe in college I decided I wanted to buff up, because Kung Fu is a great workout, but it's more cardio, so and jumping and absorbing falls and things like that. Not necessarily gonna like buff you. So I decided I want to lift some weights. So I bought the P90X program. A lot of people did that.
Yeah.
And that I did the 90 days. I think I missed like 2 days of the program, like, because I got sick. But it was like I paid so much money for it. I was like, I have to do this. But that got me like addicted to fitness and exercise. And then out of college, I decided I maybe wanted to work in it, not full time, but on the side. And so I signed up for a certification course. It's like a year-long course through National Academy of Sports Medicine.
Yeah.
And got my certification probably 4 years ago.
Okay.
So that's sort of how I got to doing what I'm doing. So
that is wild. I haven't heard of that form of martial arts, but like I've wanted to get into something like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are, like, it's becoming a movement, kind of like yoga in a way.
Yeah.
Being able to protect yourself is like a really cool thing.
It's nice.
It's a nice,
takes the edge off the day to know that you can, maybe not die. If you go out.
We've talked a lot about lessening anxiety, and that's one way of doing it. You know, just have that in your back pocket.
Yeah. Now, mind you, if you go to a Kung Fu school, you might get kicked around a little bit, but it's in a controlled setting.
Yeah.
And you learn to be like,
Have you ever been hurt in like a class? Have you ever gotten hurt?
Yeah, not severely, but yeah. The people that run this school are really good about keeping people safe. But there's every now and then usually if I got hurt or if somebody gets hurt, it's their own fault. But you get a little zealous or overzealous, and severely injured. No, I did a move wrong once in college, and I think I tore part of my quad. I'm not sure. I did not go to the doctor, which was not responsible. But I braced it and wrapped it, and it eventually went away. But to this day, my quad is one side is higher than the other. So, but other than that, that was all me. That was just me doing something stupid. I didn't,
I think the functional strength involved in something like a martial art is super important. And, and that was certainly displayed, in Singing in the Rain, which is kind of funny to say.
Yeah,
but it was like a very physical show.
Oh yeah. Well, the Make 'Em Laugh number, the film is pretty famous.
Yeah.
Donald O'Connor played the role that I played, Cosmo Brown, and he actually went to the hospital right after shooting the song.
No way.
Yeah. Now, I did it pretty physical, heavy. His was even more so than mine, because they have a movie set. He's been a professional pratfaller or whatever his whole life. He actually runs up, if you've never seen it. In our version, I crashed through these fake walls, at the end of the song.
That's right.
In his version, he ran up and flipped backwards off of fake walls. He did 2 of those.
So he didn't have a double for that.
Oh, heavens no.
He did it all himself.
No, he did it all himself. He went to the hospital because he smoked 4 packs of cigarettes a day. And it's a cardio-intensive thing to sing and move at the same time. And he just shot himself out. I mean, I think he did it in one take, the whole thing.
But, I mean, part of the reason why yours couldn't be as physical as his is you had to do it the next day. Whereas if he did it one time.
Right. It's like, well, you've got a whole production team, probably a medical crew around if you need them, and we don't have any of that. So it's like, okay, don't break anything today. I did almost dislocate my thumb during one of the performances. It has recovered. I rolled on it. Again, it was my fault.
Well, part of this show that was so impressive is the fact that you guys did it over and over again.
Yeah.
And, I was talking with Andy, and you do have a pretty strict supplement vitamin regimen that, one, keeps your immune system strong because you guys are going so hard that, I'm sure your immune system would be depleted a little bit.
Yeah. Well, that's like the number one fear, I think, of any theater person is getting sick during the show.
Well, because then you can't sing. And it's such a physical, like you said, and I want to talk about the singing and dancing part at some point. But tell me a little bit about, how are you approaching your supplement regimen going into a strenuous show like Singing in the Rain?
So I have a regular supplement regimen, and then I have, like
an intensive.
Yeah. So, on the side, I just like supplementation. It's a weird hobby. I guess it's not weird. I am fascinated with the idea that I can take a plant or something from a plant extracted or anything, real animal, whatever, and tweak my body chemistry. I kind of do it as a hobby, I'm a guinea pig, and I like to see what's going to happen. I'm not going to go out and eat psychedelic mushrooms or anything, but I'll try a supplement if I see So, in free time, I'll just get up, in the morning, if it's a day that I don't have to be up quick. I'll lay in my bed and go on YouTube. There's a couple channels. I like health channels and things with some doctors, and I'll just be like, well, let's see what they're talking about today.
Yeah.
And if I hear a new supplement, I'm like, and then I go on Google, clinical studies of insert supplement name. If I can find some human trial, things like that, I'm like, well, let's see what happens if I buy this and take it. So on the side, I'm kind of a supplement enthusiast.
Did you have an experience that this is amazing? Or did you always okay, it's cool that I'm taking this flavonoid or plant and it's making me stronger? Or I'm just wondering, did you have an experience
like a physical experience?
Oh my gosh, I'm so much more energetic now.
There's a couple supplements that I have physically felt when I took them. There's a couple. And I can talk about them if you want. Matcha green tea, I noticed drinking it, that I didn't crash very easily in the day. So at 4:00 in the afternoon is my 4 to 5, if you ask any of them, I have piano students or voice students, you ask any of them during, I warn them, I'm like, I promise I'm listening. I have to, it's really hard at 5:00. But if I've had some matcha, that doesn't hit me nearly as hard. So that was one of the things, I don't drink matcha every day, but that's one of the things that I think is a really great.
Is there a strategy, is there a reason why you don't drink it every day?
Laziness. I just forget. It takes more preparation. You know, a lot of supplements, you just take a pill. It's easy. It's quick. Matcha, you kind of have, it's not that much preparation, but
you still have to be intentional.
You have to be intentional.
Okay.
Yeah. I store mine in it's very expensive matcha if you get good matcha. It's a Japanese green tea. I keep it in my freezer in the tin. It comes in a little tin, and you take it out, and I have a little bzzz, like a blender thing for your coffees.
Yeah.
But you have to blend matcha a lot, or else it settles, and it's this sludge.
Do you know the brand? Out of curiosity.
Oh, I cannot remember the brand. It's a Japanese name. It's straight from Japan, and I cannot remember. There's a couple. You can get them on Amazon. I got it on Amazon.
Okay. So. Okay. What we'll do, guys, is if you're interested in diving a little deeper in matcha, I'll shoot you a text later, and we'll get the brand.
Oh yeah, any supplement I name. If you need a brand name,
yeah,
I am happy to send any info you want.
Cool. So tell me.
You want me to just go through my stack?
Let's do your normal.
Sure.
And then let's go singing in the rain time.
Okay.
So what's your normal?
I wrote them down. So
there you go.
There's a lot.
He's
People are like,
prepared.
geez, this guy pops pills all day. I take zinc every day, whether I'm in a show or not.
Yep.
Zinc, I think it's zinc picolinate, I guess is the form. I'm not
Okay.
sure. I don't take a huge dose. It's like daily recommended, probably 100%.
Yep.
You can take more, I guess. I've taken zinc a few times, a little more zealously maybe than I should have, and I got sick to my stomach.
Yep.
You
Me
get
too.
that sudden heat, nausea, okay, you've had too much of whatever.
Yep.
Sometimes those pre-workouts or some protein shakes even add zinc to them. So I just take a teeny little. The next one I take on the daily is Astaxanthin. Heard of Astaxanthin?
I have. Astaxanthin. It's it is an antioxidant?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I think it's Robin. We didn't explain this on antioxidants. And I think it's her favorite. Tell me more about it.
Yeah, astaxanthin, at least according to some of the research out there. And again, if anybody wants to know the research, ncbi.nlm.nih.gov. There's some government researches on it, but astaxanthin's a really potent antioxidant. Some of the studies have tried to rate it on a comparison to other well-knowns like vitamin E maybe, and beta carotene. It's like 550% stronger.
Okay.
Or more potent than those. And basic vitamin C, like basic that you just take, in whatever form, it's like thousands of percent more
So are you
powerful.
Pronounce it for me again.
Astaxanthin.
Are you taking astaxanthin in replacement of like a C, or?
I wouldn't tell somebody to do that.
Okay.
I don't take vitamin C regularly, but I
Interesting.
eat vegetables and fruit every day. So
Okay.
And it's not that I'm against taking vitamin C, not by any means. And if I'm going to ramp up for an immune, I'll probably go buy some.
Got it.
It just doesn't stay in the body very long in supplement form. It's like an hour, and then you're peeing most of it out.
Okay.
Which is why if you're going to take it, you should take, and Andy and I have talked about this, massive doses of it, because it's not going to hurt you, and it just flushes out. It's quick to leave the body. So yeah, I take astaxanthin as one of my primary immune supporters. It's actually also has some studies behind it for insulin resistance.
Really?
Which is crazy. I don't know a ton about that. I haven't read into that yet, but that was sort of a buzz. One of the guys I follow on YouTube who talks supplementation is like, yeah, insulin resistance.
Interesting.
I'm like, oh, really? There's a little bookmark there. We'll come back to that. So that's astaxanthin. I take a B complex, vitamin B complex.
Okay.
Sublingually.
And that has all your B's in them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and like the B12 in it is it's a massive dose. I can't.
Do you flush after that? Do you feel flush?
I don't. It doesn't. The one it doesn't have is the niacin.
Okay, so the niacin's you're right.
Right. I don't get the itchy. I've had a niacin flush, but that is not in it.
Okay.
I think it's everything but niacin.
Okay.
I take a vitamin D.
Yep.
I take two kinds. I take
same day.
Same day.
Okay.
I take vitamin D with K2, which is, and then nerdy here, but MK7 I think is the variety of K2, vitamin K, which is sort of an anti-plaque in your arteries supplement. That's the primary. There's some other it's for healthy clotting and things like that in your blood.
So your D with K, it has the MK7 in it?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yep, and they're suspended in like olive oil.
Got it.
Usually they're in they're fat soluble.
Are you what's your brand of D with K?
I can't remember. It's another Amazon thing.
Okay.
I'm all about the Amazon because they have almost every brand on there, and you can really sift through. I'm real picky about ingredients.
Okay.
So I'll sit for 30 minutes to an hour if I'm gonna buy a new supplement, scrolling through brands looking for.
Are you looking for the least amount of ingredients? So if you're D with K, you're looking for D3 and MK7.
Yeah,
So
what fat is it? And usually they have to come in a fat, so because it's a fat soluble. So, I'm not real picky about the fat there. It's such a small amount. Usually it's coconut oil or olive oil. I've ever found.
So if it's fat soluble, wouldn't you? I've always taken that to mean take it with food. So the fat in the supplement isn't as big of a deal to me.
Right.
Okay.
Right. No. Yeah, and that's why the fat. It's like okay. I just accept that it's going to be in olive oil. It doesn't bother me.
Got it.
And I do take it after my first meal. Most of these supplements I take after first meal. There's a couple I take on an empty stomach when I'll get to them. And the other vitamin D is just a general vitamin D with a higher dose. Because the MK7, it's like, at least the bottle, I take it sublingually. It's like, take 2 drops. And not, sometimes that means dropper fulls, but this is like, too little.
So your D and your D with K is sublingual.
Yep.
Okay, so you're doing droppers.
Yeah.
Okay, fan of that?
I like sublingual. I do.
Sublingual basically is a dropper. You put it underneath your tongue, and apparently the absorption of that is a little better. And absorption is probably something we don't talk enough about with vitamins.
Yeah.
You know, if it's not being absorbed, if it's not getting into the cells, you know, then what are you doing?
It's a food coloring for your pee, basically, is what it, and it still is. I mean, and that's like some supplements, your stomach, you're going to get a percentage of what you take, but your stomach's going to destroy a lot of it.
Right.
Which is just normal. It might be protecting us from toxicity too, if you take too much. So another one, a supplementary to I don't take it every day. I take this if I'm going to eat a really fatty meal. It's called TUDCA.
Okay.
It's an acronym, and it is, tauroursodeoxycholic acid. It's a crazy.
So what is
TUDCA.
T?
TUDCA. TUDCA.
TUDCA. TUDCK. Okay.
It sounds gross. So they make it from bear bile, which sounds like voodoo druid medicine, right? Like I'm going out in the woods here. I bought TUDCA because I went through a health spell last year or 2 years ago, where I thought I was having gallbladder issues.
Okay.
I was having like spasms, and I was having constipation and pain. And so before I go to the doctor, I try to find a natural way to solve it. I'm not opposed to going to the doctors, of course, and one of the things thrown around was this supplement called TUDCA. It's essentially bile support. So if you don't have a gallbladder, it's actually something that some doctors may recommend taking every day.
Okay.
Because your gallbladder is like extra bile to help break down extra fatty things. It has, and so people without it, you know, they get kind of sick if they eat like a big old steak. Sometimes, not always. And it's just it's to help flush out your I still have my gallbladder, but it's shown in studies to help flush out the canal in the gallbladder. It helps the liver do its job. It's just a general. We make TUDCA, but it's in such minuscule amounts. It's so they source it from animals.
Got it.
I don't take it all the time, but it's kind of a cool.
It's
for liver health, essentially.
Okay, so you would take that prior to a meal that
a rich meal
you might not digest as well.
Right.
Okay. Would that be like in replace of a probiotic?
No.
Okay.
No, not necessarily. You can take both, yeah. Let's see. So I'm a huge fan of therapeutic. Okay. Not psychedelics when I say therapeutic mushrooms. Nutritional mushrooms.
Yep.
So I take a complex of mushrooms. I take reishi mushroom, which is got all kinds of immune health benefits. I take it, man. It's supposed to improve relaxation and focus. It's not a sedative. It's more of just a clear your mind kind of.
And are you
deal.
taking this in one pill? And it's the
2 capsules in the morning on an empty stomach.
And but it has a combination of different mushrooms.
No, I take them separately, individually.
Got it. So,
but a lot you can buy them in a complex, and I don't think it interferes whether or not you take them either way.
Okay.
I just prefer a higher dose of each.
Okay.
So I take them individually. Reishi, cordyceps, which is for performance, athletic performance. Studies have shown the best performance, where it helps the most is if you're going to do anything anaerobic. So
anaerobic meaning like
high heart rate, so aerobic is like middle ground. It's like that's going for a light jog. Aerobic would be. Anaerobic is like I have trouble speaking because I'm so out of breath. That's sort of one of the tests. You're entering anaerobic zone with your heart if you can't speak. Like if it's short, like okay.
Would you guys do musicals? Are you in an anaerobic state when you're singing and dancing?
I would say so.
Okay.
It depends on the level of the dance, I would guess. If I'm doing like a partner ballroom dance, it's probably not.
Okay.
But like the make 'em laugh number or a tap number that's quick, like Andy and I do the song Moses Supposes together. That one probably is close to anaerobic. Make 'em laugh was anaerobic because if somebody saw the show more than once, a couple of our friends, they would probably notice that in the scene right leading up to the song, I have some lines. I put pauses between my lines because I'm like
you're prepping.
I'm like almost not hyperventilating, but yeah, I'm taking in as much oxygen as I can, almost to the point where you get a little tingly. Because I know that once I get into this song, there's going to be periods of time where I'm not breathing. Because you can't breathe and sing at the same time. It's just impossible.
Right.
So I would definitely say anaerobic, yeah.
Okay.
Because there's a couple times where I felt like I was holding my breath because I'm singing. And if you hold your breath, you get that that need to breathe. That starts to almost happen.
Interesting.
So you're just very excited for that next gasp of air. When you're done, la, and then you keep going. So yeah, anaerobic cordyceps is supposed to be really helpful in the anaerobic department.
Okay.
And it's just, again, any mushroom is, no, not any mushroom. Any of these are generally just good for you. It's like eating a vegetable almost, just in a concentrated dose. So then I take turkey tail for immune support.
Interesting.
Turkey tail mushroom. This is crazy.
So turkey tail is a mushroom.
Yeah, turkey tail mushroom.
Okay.
This is the one that I watched a TED Talk lecture about it. There's a guy named Paul Stamets. He's a doctor of mushrooms and I think some kind of health. I cannot remember mushrooms are his life. His mother, he brings his mother. You should look it up. It's Paul Stamets' TED Talk on mushrooms. At the end of it, he brings up his mother, who survived breast cancer.
Okay.
She was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer, and she was a Christian Scientist, so she refused to see doctors. But she called him up. She goes, "I'm scared. I have knots, and I think I know what it is, and I'm afraid." And they did get her into a doctor, and it was stage 4 cancer.
Mm.
But the doctor said, they're doing clinical trials of cancer treatment combined with turkey tail mushrooms. Would you be interested? And she's like, "What do I got to lose? He's just certainly not going to hurt you.
Right.
So why not?"
Right.
He brings her up, and she's like 6 years cancer free.
Wow.
Yeah. Now.
So it has anti-cancer properties?
Yeah. So it helps you produce beta glucans, and cancer treatment is notorious for just ravaging your immune system.
Right.
It kills the cancer, but you're defenseless to everything else. So a lot of people die of various illnesses in cancer treatment. So they studied turkey tail in conjunction with, and I can't remember the cancer drug, in conjunction with it, they saw a massive improvement in survivability rates of cancer. Because the beta-glucan, it stimulates, I think it's production of, or it has a lot of beta-glucans in it. And it helps to keep your immune system at least closer to normal, so you weather your treatment better and you have a higher survivability rate.
Wow.
It's crazy.
I haven't heard of that.
And it's not a fancy supplement. You can buy them. The main thing to look for in any mushroom supplement, that this is where I get into being really nitpicky, is fruiting body. So there's mycelium and there's fruiting. Mycelium is the sort of the stalk. I'm a layman with mushrooms, but my understanding is like the little feelers that go out before it grows. Okay. The fruiting body is what you want to eat. It has the most.
It's like the root?
The fruiting body, I think, is actually the cap.
Got it. Okay.
It's sort of before it sends out its spores, because fungi are kind of creepy and weird. Before it sends them out, it's fruiting, and that's the most potent form of the mushroom.
Okay.
So most mushrooms you want to see on the back, and it'll say in parentheses, fruiting body or mycelium.
Is there a certain percentage of fruiting body you want, or is it just as long as it says
that? I
it?
don't know for sure.
But if it says it,
if it says fruiting body, it usually it'll be like milligram of the mushroom, and it'll say what part of the mushroom is this.
Okay.
And you want fruiting body. On most mushrooms, that's what you want is fruiting body. So then I take Agaricon. It's another mushroom, and it's just an immune supporter. Similar story with cordyceps. It's actually shown turkey tail. It's actually shown in some studies to be highly reactive against flu and certain viruses, Agaricon. It's a nearly extinct mushroom.
Can you say that word?
Agaricon.
Agaricon.
I think it's Agarikon.
Okay.
think Agaricon.
Wow.
It's a really rare mushroom. They're huge. They just look like a brown stump almost. They're massive.
And these are every day for you?
Every day.
Okay. And are you separating those out? Because I do want to talk because you take a lot of vitamins.
Timing and things like that.
Yeah.
I take 2 things on an empty stomach every morning. Reishi mushroom and what is the other one?
The cordyceps?
Yes, cordyceps.
Okay.
Those 2 are an empty stomach. That's what's recommended on the bottle. That's
Okay.
the only reason. Everything else I take after a meal.
Okay, and you just spread out based on what, you take them throughout the day, but it's after a meal, post-meal.
Yeah. Well, depends on if I'm in a hurry, I'll actually put like 15 pills in my hand and take them all at once.
We do not recommend that.
Do not do that. I'm a time saver. If you're going to take all your 15 pills in one period, fine, but don't. One day I was like, I think I can do this. I'm just kind of weird. I'm just kind of crazy. So they're like, and supplements are like horse pill size, like massive, like gels and things. And I don't lean back. I just put water floating, and they just down they go. Down. I've never had a choke. Never choked on them.
Again, we do not recommend that.
Do that.
So that's your daily routine, and or anything else we're missing?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
fish oil.
Okay.
I take fish oil every day for omega-3.
Okay.
I don't care so much about omega-6 because it's so prevalent in our diet.
Fish oil, are you taking krill or?
No, krill's great. I've heard. I'm not too super picky. What I look for is high levels of DHA.
Got it.
DHA, EPA.
Yep.
I look for high level of that. And I actually just bought a new one on Amazon. I tried. I buy in bulk if I can. It's cheaper. And it's like this. It comes in a bag of gels. It's huge, and then 3 gels at a time.
Are you putting it in your fridge?
No, it doesn't say you have to. They're just and I take that every day. I eat salmon every other day too, so I'm always after the omega-3s.
Okay.
Because a lot of the fats we eat are omega-6, and they compete for absorption. So a lot of people think, I got to take my omega-6. Well, if you're eating nuts and seeds, anything like that, you're probably getting enough omega-6, and you can be out of whack in your.
I know my omega-3 to omega-6 ratio has to be out of whack. I know it.
Most people's are.
Yeah.
And mine probably still is, even though I'm taking omega-3s. It's just a hard thing to get enough of. It's just rare in our diet. You have to eat like sardines and mackerel, and I don't want to eat sardines and mackerel. They're nasty. To eat them whole is ugh. So I just take the capsules. It's just so much easier. I take boron.
Oh yeah.
Like 6 to 9 milligrams a day.
Okay.
For males, it's shown in study to increase available testosterone, which is important compared to just general testosterone because it's bound up in the sex binding
hormone globulin.
That's the one there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's supposed to increase your available testosterone. So I'm a trainer and I exercise a lot and I want to have available testosterone. I take copper because I take zinc because they compete for absorption. I don't take them at the same time. I take copper at night and I take zinc with my first meal.
Wow. Okay.
So, because that way at least, this zinc gets to have free reign for the day, and then while I'm asleep, the copper can kind of come in and,
I love that.
So, I take L-theanine in the morning. I guess I do take that on an empty stomach with my first cup of coffee.
What do you take L-theanine for? Like, what's your reasoning?
Focus without grogginess. So, and it's good for anxiety, supposedly. It's the amino acid extracted from tea leaves.
Okay.
Mostly tea leaves. You can get it from other plants, but it's mostly tea leaves. Humans don't make it. It supposedly, it can get through the blood-brain barrier, and it is a glutamate inhibitor. Glutamate is the excitatory compound in the brain that makes you alert. Not necessarily like anxious, but it can contribute to anxiety. So a lot of people with high anxiety supposedly have too much glutamate going on. Theanine goes in like GABA, if you take GABA, and it binds first so the glutamate can't.
Okay.
So it's just to help balance. And for me, I take it with caffeine to prevent jitters. And I don't have jitters anymore when I consume coffee so caffeine
so you take it with caffeine on an empty stomach.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I fast for the first part of the day. I don't have a set amount of time. I just don't eat until after first workout usually.
Okay.
I don't eat anything before.
So you're working out on a empty stomach.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't like to eat a lot before a show either because, well, shaking up, chewed up hamburger in my stomach while I'm jumping around. It doesn't sound like a fun time. I take lion's mane and chaga mushroom.
So you're taking a lot of different types of mushrooms.
A lot of things. Yeah, a lot of mushrooms especially.
Okay.
Lion's mane is the brain mushroom. They're trying to do studies with it. They've already done some, showing promising results with treating or mitigating Alzheimer's and dementia. Lion's mane's crazy. I can, if anybody wants the studies, I can send them to you.
Yeah,
the ones that they've done. And again, they're kind of cutting edge. It's kind of, this is sort of future science. They're like, let's see. They're just starting to do that on humans.
And what we will do, guys, is we'll do as best we can to get everything that Lucas is mentioning in the show notes or in the description below.
Oh, yeah.
So people can check this out. So what else is on your daily routine? And then we're gonna take we're gonna add a person to our conversation and talk about during strenuous times.
Show routine.
Yeah. If you're feeling, a sickness come on, what's your routine?
Yeah. The last one, I don't take it all the time. I take it if I love fish, so I eat, I like salmon, I like tuna. That's about it. I eat tuna a lot. Yeah. Tuna's high in metals. It can be. The be careful of all the metals. You'd have to eat so much to die of mercury poisoning. But still, I take chlorella.
Oh, yeah.
Chlorella, it's just like the little green algae capsules.
Yeah, it's so funny. In the most recent podcast on the Common Sense MD, my dad, Dr. Rogers, mentions chlorella, and I hadn't heard him talk about it, and then you're mentioning it today. So, guys, stay tuned for more on chlorella.
Yeah. It's supposedly, there's a lot of health benefits to it, but the thing I take it for is it's supposed to assist your body in filtering out excess. I think it's like minerals and toxicity, things like that. That's supposed to be one of the benefits of chlorella. It's also a complete plant protein, one of the rare complete plant proteins.
Interesting.
So I guess I don't, it's not really supplement, but I do take protein shake. I don't do whey or casein because they bother me. I get canker sores if I consume a whey protein shake. It's hard on the digestive system for me.
Okay.
I take a vegan protein. I'm not a vegan, but I take a vegan protein. Actually mix my own now. I don't know. We'll see if it doesn't taste great, but we'll see. We'll see how it pans out in the future. But
so it's not one of the fun protein shakes.
No, it looks pretty nasty too. It's just a combination of pea protein, I think pumpkin seed protein, and hemp protein.
Okay. Powdered,
and I'll put like cocoa powder and monk fruit to make it sort of palatable. But
is monk fruit your sweetener of choice?
Yeah. Okay. It's a liquid. I have a liquid, and Amazon sells. It's cheap too. Typically, these organic sugar replacements are pretty expensive, especially good sourced. There's like you can buy it in a squirt bottle, and it's pure monk fruit. It's not, and that's again important. There's not a lot of other things in it, and you just do. It's like 3 drops in whatever, and it'll last months. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah,
super cool.
Stevia is fine too, but it can give you gas and things like that. So
yeah,
we don't need that.
Well, anything else on your daily routine, and then we're gonna bring in your co-star.
I don't. I'm looking here. Not really.
So what we'll do, we'll go into show mode here right now. We're gonna bring in your co-star, guys. We got a special guest. We're gonna go with my brother, your co-star.
Yeah.
Gosh, your favorite in Johnson City, Andy Rogers, going to come in.
Don't go away.